We are here at First Energy Stadium for the Liberty Bell Classic. The Homers for Hope Nuts taking on the Long Ball All-Stars. Long Balls have the runner on third with one out. That's Ryan Quinn at third. He walked to start off the game, then moved to second on the pass ball. Danny Kane grounded out to third, score at 5-3, but then Quinn moved over to third on that ground out. So Tommy Roush is the batter for the Long Balls as he takes a strike. So for the Nuts, it's a bunch of, they've talking to their coach earlier, one 15-year-old, a bunch of 14-year-olds, the Long Balls a few years younger, 12, 13-year-olds, but all from the same organization as the ball is bounced in the dirt. So these guys know each other well. Some of them may not have a number. All from the same organization, though. We're here at First Energy Stadium. Built here in 2001, single-A affiliate of the Philadelphia Phillies. As Roush lines one foul down the first base line. 2 strikes. The Blue Claws who play here, they won division titles in 06, 09, 2010, 2016, 2018, and have won the league titles in 2006, 2009, and 2010. They play in the Atlantic League. They've led the Atlantic League in either average attendance or total attendance since their arrival in 2001. The stadium can fit 8,000. Pitch to Roush, sails high for a ball. 2-2's the count, as the umpire for today's game is Tom Kaufman. No field umpires, just Kaufman for the Little League game. He works for the Higher Information Group when he is not umpiring Little League games. Two pitch, line towards second base, over the head of the leaping second baseman into right field. That'll plate a run for the Long Balls and give them a 1-0 lead. So Roush gets an RBI single after jumping on the 2-2 pitch, lining it into right field, just over the second baseman's head. It's 1-0 Long Balls. So Michael John McLeish will be the 4-hole hitter for the Long Balls this afternoon. He's got a runner on first, just 1 out, top of the first inning. Takes, called strike 1. So after the Liberty Bell Classic today, there will be the Homers for Hope, the Home Run Derby, which is a very good cause. Raises money for families in need who suffer through tragedies. Balls in the dirt, no advance from Roush at first, however. Started by John Durso, it was a home run derby. All the proceeds from the money raised go to a family suffering from a tragic event or an illness. It's delivered support to over 25 families. Great cause. And have paid $223,000 in bills, just over, for families in need. So that'll be starting at 4 to go to about 8, as it is 1:02 here in Lakewood, New Jersey. 1-1 pitch is in there for strike 2. So a good chance we'll see some moving around from many of the players, play different positions. All these guys were excited coming into the game. Coach Mike Anderson told us a lot of these guys have never played at a stadium this big before. Just a few of them have. As a cut on a miss from McLee, that's 2 outs in the inning. Swings and misses at a high heater. 2 down runner on first. Colin Polenta coming to bat for the Long Balls. So even if the Nuts get out of the inning, still a good inning for the Long Balls. They've already scored a run. He's usually fair into shallow center field. Coming on, it'll get down for a base hit. That'll move Roush onto second, so it's a base hit for Polenta. That's first and second now for Tom Quinn. So still a good inning for the Long Balls. They're younger in age than the Nuts by 1 to 2 years. Already scored a run here in the first. There's got ducks on the pond here. First and second, 2 outs. Pitch is in the dirt, gets by the catcher. Runners will move up, so second and third, 2 away now. Things get trickier for the Nuts now. So Quinn's got runners in scoring position at both second and third now. Despite the cold weather, it's still a beautiful day. Some clouds here in Lakewood, but still a very good day for baseball. A little chilly. Still some short sleeves out. Still, as we mentioned earlier, hard to believe the declining weather temperatures because it was just 90 degrees just the other day. Check on runner at second. He's back in time. No advance from McClee over at third. Or it's Rouch, correction, over at third. Polenta, who just hit the single, is over at second. Tom Quinn's the batter. Here comes a pitch. It's inside. Ball 3. So getting back to homers for hope, they've had over 100 Derby participants over the years. As Quinn cuts on and missed, strike 1. The first 30 players to raise $250, and this year we've got 16 players, most notably T.J. Gardner, who's won the Derby in the past. He puts on quite the show here in Lakewood. Pitch sails high, ball 4. Quinn will take his base. Base is loaded now, and Aiden Kane will be the batter for the long balls. First pitch to Kane is a called strike 1. That'll be the key here. 2 walks here in the top of the first inning for the long balls. First baseman holding on the runner at first leaves a big hole on the right side as Kane takes inside 1-1. Third baseman's even at the bag, shortstop even at the bag. Second baseman playing deep in that hole in right field to cover up some ground. Here comes a pitch. It is a called strike 2 on the outside corner, 1-2. One-two pitch on its way. It's hit a little number to third base, coming in, throwing to first in time. A nice play there. So that'll end the inning. On a couple of hits for the long balls, they score a run. At the end of the top of the first, it's the long balls 1 and the Nuts 0. We are back in the bottom half of the first inning. Frankie Pisano is the batter for the Nuts. First pitch hits him, so he will be on first base. It's not the ideal way to start the first inning, but the Nuts will get a base runner trailing here 1-0, bottom of the first. So Kevin Krause next to step in. Kevin Krause goes to St. Catherine's, nicknamed Double Sugar, likes crabs as his favorite food. Vizano loves chicken, that's his favorite food, as he leads off first base with nobody out, bottom of the first inning. First pitch to Krause is outside, ball 1. Demetrius Sosa is on deck, and then Tyler O'Brien will follow Krause here as he takes another ball, 2-0. So pitching might be a bit of a problem today with the decreasing weather temperatures. As the runner goes from first, throw to second is not in time. So Berzano's got a stolen base. He's in scoring position for Krause. Good opportunity for the Nuts to tie the game here in the bottom of the first inning. Many of these kids on the Nuts go to St. Catherine's. As the next pitch to Krause hits him, he'll take first base too. So 2 hit batters here in the bottom of the first inning. So that's more of the control problems for the Nuts and the long balls. Few walks in the top of the first inning. Now 2 hit batsmen here in the bottom of the first inning as Sosa steps in. Swings at an off-speed pitch. Comes up empty, 0-1. Sosa goes by Poppy Sosa. Loves steak as the pitch gets away here. Runners will advance. Big turnaround third for Frisano, but he'll stay there. Kraus up to second, so second and third now, nobody out for the Nuts. So whoever wins or has the best performance today will get the Liberty Bell Classic MVP. Got a little plaque for it. Here's a long fly ball in foul territory down the third baseline, but that gets into the stands. Runners will stay at second and third. Down the lines, not too much room to work with. Little room right past first and third base, but once you get further down the lines, the stands come out a little bit, so not as much room to work with once you get down the right field and left field lines. 0-1 pitch, swing and a miss. That's strike three, rather, as Sosa comes up empty. Big first out for the long balls as they strike out Sosa. That'll bring up Tyler O'Brien. Tyler, another guy who loves chicken. Ball in the dirt here. Runners jump a little bit, but return to second and third. That's ball one. .325 down the left and right field lines. 400 to dead center here at the First Energy Park. Be shocked if someone hit it to the wall. You'll see some guys in the Derby later who struggled to hit out themselves. Very, very deep gaps in left and right center field as well. Pitch is outside. That's 2-1 now to Tyler Long Live the Skip O'Brien. Two-one pitch, breaking ball, called strike. So O'Brien's got a bit of a big hole on the right side to work with since they're holding the runner on at second base. Pitch to him. Swing and a miss, gets away from the catcher. They're going to say it foul tip, though. So runners will stay there. Still second and third. Robert Roman on deck for the Nuts. He'll be followed by Thomas McGinley. Here comes a 2-2 pitch. Ground ball to third. Gets past him down the left field line. That'll score a run. Here comes the second as he's held up at third. Now they got him in a pickle. The throw to home is high, backed up by the pitcher, and O'Brien will go all the way to second base. So some interesting base running there. That was Kraus, who was in between going home and staying at third, but he ended up deciding to go for it. He's in there safely as the throw sailed high over the catcher. And due to that, O'Brien wound up as second. So he's got 2 RBIs, and just like that, the Nuts take a 2-1 lead here in the bottom of the first. O'Neill will go to third on the stolen base. He's in there safely, too. So 2 stolen bases for the Nuts here in the bottom of the first inning. Infield will come in a little bit for the long balls, down 2-1 now. So anything on the ground, look for them to go home. O'Brien, decent speed though, already stole third base. Pitch is in there for a called strike one. Two-one count. The pitch popped up behind home plate, but it'll go into the stands, so it's 2-2 now. Not a ton of room behind home plate as well, as we mentioned already down the third and first base lines. Not much room. Here's a liner down the left field line, but just foul. Roman got into that one, but it was just foul down the left field line. So the next inning we'll get into a little bit some of the families the Homers for Hopes have benefited. Just a great cause. Again, that'll take place from 4 o'clock this afternoon going until 8 o'clock. We got 16 contestants trying to win it. Here's a liner into center field. Coming on. Center field makes the catch. Tyler O'Brien will stay at third. Not deep enough to tag up. Ball was hit really well. Right on the button. Hit too hard, though, to advance O'Brien. So there are 2 away in the bottom of the first. So here's Thomas McGinley. Dan Kraus will wait on deck. McGinley, one of the faster runners on this Nuts team, hence his nickname of Wheels. He wears number 11 and bats from the right-hand side. Pitch to him is inside, 2-0. It's a good adjustment from the long balls after hitting the first 2 pitchers. He settled down here. Could escape this inning just down 1 run, 2-1. 2-0 pitch, outside ball 2. Pitch gets away from the catcher. It's ball 4. So McGinley reaches first. O'Brien no advance. So it's runners on the corners now with Dan Kraus coming to bat. So before Dan was on the Nuts, he threw multiple no-hitters against them and felt pretty bad about it, so he joined the team. And he brought with him a few guys, Double Sugar and Chicken Skins McGinn. So, big part of this Nuts team. Dan hates going by Danny, so just Dan. Favorite foods, tacos, nicknamed Cheetah Knees. He, just like many of his teammates, attends St. Catherine's as he is ahead of the count here. Pitch to him is high. So we've seen some good breaking pitches so far to the Nuts hitters. They've been able to stay on it well. Although Sosa did strike out on a good curveball. Pitch is lined over the second baseman's head into center field. That's a base hit. 1 run will score. Here comes Ronan. Throw to the plate is not in time. And Kraus will move over to second base. So a 2 RBI double. That makes it 4-1 now. Nuts. So a good piece of hitting. Brings in 2 runs. Another liner just over the second baseman's head. The long balls had one of those last inning. Infielder's not playing too deep because of the big infield here. So that'll bring up Mikey Anderson. He takes a called strike 1. Hits are 2 aside now as Anderson fouls one back. 0-2. 2 hits aside. We've had 2 hit batters this inning, 2 walks for the long balls last inning. No errors so far in the game. O'Brien's hit was marked as a double down the left field line. Here's one into center field. Coming on the center field. He'll make a nice catch. And that'll end the first inning. After 1, it is the Nuts 4 and the long balls 1. So we're back for the top of the second inning. Dom RBI machine waits will lead it off for the long balls. Count 1-1 on him. Waits attends Calvary just like his teammate Colin Palanta. Favorite food is sushi. And strange enough, one time he got hit in the butt with a pitch, and the umpire called it a strikeout. Must have swung at the pitch, as he is down in the count 1-2 after the swinging strike. 1-2 pitch, lined off the pitcher's glove, up the middle, fielded by the shortstop, fires to first in time. So nice job on the redirection off the pitcher's glove. Waits has robbed a bit there, as that ball was headed up the middle for a base hit. So 1 away in the top of the second. So Joel Castellano next to bat for the long balls. Infield playing halfway with the bases. We mentioned big infield here as he cuts and misses. Strike one. So we talked about the Homers for Hope family a little bit. That is the Rodriguez family, great story. Always gives back to the community every Christmas. They kind of adopt a family to kind of give them a taste of what they call Christmas magic. As a ground ball to first here, right to the first baseman. He'll step on the bag himself. 2 quick outs here in the top of the second inning. Anthony, the father, they always give back to the family, to the community rather. Donate book bags to the school, participate in toy drives. They help pay for a student's senior trip. They help make that possible for that student, Anthony's alma mater. But at just 39 years old, Anthony suffered a sudden heart attack, which then led to a stroke. But he's kept fighting. August in 2018, heart was just at 10%. So just really a great story. He continues to fight, functioning just 10%. He's not giving up. So a great story there for Anthony and the Rodriguez family. Any support for them would just be fantastic. So Casey J. McDonough, next hitter for the long balls as they have 2 outs here in the inning. 3-0 the count on him. Ball 4 as he takes slow and outside, so the Nuts have a 2-out base runner here in the top of the second inning. Jack Adams, next hitter for the long balls. They call him Fireball Adams. We could see him on the mound later this game. Cuts and misses at the first pitch, strike one. On the outside corner, strike two. Adams will just use one batting glove, so has it bottom hand, top hand, however, his right hand, no batting glove. 0-2 pitch, it's in the dirt. Good block by the catcher, so no advancement in the runners. As you look at center field here in First Energy Park, you'll see 2 numbers retired. That's Ryan Howard, the first person on the Lakewood roster to make the Phillies roster. That was way back in 2006. You also see Cole Hamels, big part of the Phillies. As Adams takes a called strike 3, that'll do it for the top of the second inning. The Nuts still up 4-1 as the long balls fail to score. We'll go to the bottom of the second inning. As we resume play here in the bottom of the second, Dennis, the Spanish Kershaw Burrito, is the first to hit. He's the pitcher today the starting pitcher today for the Nuts. Speaking of Clayton Kershaw, he allowed few runs. He was tagged for the loss last night against the Washington Nationals, even that series at 1 apiece. Burrito up 2-0 is in the count. Another one who attends Father Judge. A lot of St. Catherine's and Father Judge students here for both teams. Pitches high, 3-0. Danny Kane will be the pitcher for the long balls still here in the second inning. Allowed 4 runs in the first inning. 3-0 pitch is in there for called strike 1. Three-one pitch, line down the right field line. That'll hit the safety netting, though, and it is out of play. Infield will come in a little bit. Here's a ground ball to the second baseman. He throws over to first in time, out number 1. So that's Ryan Quinn at second. He threw it over to Mike McLeish. That's good for the first out. So next up is James Chicken Skins McGinley, one of the many characters on this Nuts team. He lines one down the third baseline. That is foul. McGinley was one of the players Dan Krause recruited when he came over here. Big part of this Nuts team as he steps in down 0-1. Here's a slow roller to short. Throw on to first is in time. Nice play there. That is Aiden Kane over at short. McLeish will get the put out at first once again. 2 outs here in the second inning. So much different results so far in this second inning. 5 runs combined in the first inning through an inning and 2/3 here in the second. No runs for either team. 2 away, bottom of the second. Pitch is lined foul. Liam Haran, first baseman for the Nuts today, is the hitter. They call him Little Lee, even though he is a pretty big guy in the box. It'll be Haran and then Callahan to round off the lineup. Pitch is hit foul, 0-2. Starting to get some more fans trickling in. There'll be a lot more this evening, it looks like, for the Homers for Hope Derby as the pitch is in the dirt, ball 1. A lot of these players will move around throughout the game, changing positions. Some will play outfield, some infield. As many can play several different positions. We'll see definitely a few pitchers. Coach Mike Anderson told us they don't want to burn anyone's arm out, especially with the cold weather today. Here comes a 2-2 pitch. It's outside, full count. It's warming up a little bit this afternoon as the sun is out. Still under 60 degrees, though. Full count pitch is outside, so Haran will take ball 4. So Thomas Callahan, number 5, will be the next to bat for the Nuts. It'll be him then back to the top of the order for the Nuts. Pickoff attempt on the first baseman gets away. So up to second base goes Haran. So he's in scoring position for Callahan with 2 away. We mentioned they call Haran Little Lee, and oddly enough, he likes Cocoa Puffs as his favorite food. He thinks he'll be a future first base coach of a major league team, as he is the old school helmet and gives signs like no other. He is taking the slowest runner awards. A lot of speedsters here on this Nuts team. He is not one of them, as Callahan takes a strike. Ball in the dirt, 2-1. Callahan, one of those speedsters for the Nuts, nicknamed the Flash. 2-2 count on him. You'd figure long balls love to get out of this inning, especially if you're Danny Kane. Throw to third, not in time, so another stolen base for Haran. Even though he's not all that fast, he's moving today. Went to second on the pickoff attempt, now he's over to third on the stolen base. Pitch is in there for a called strike 3, so Kane gets out of the inning, retires Callahan on strikes. No runs, no hits for the Nuts at the end of 2 innings. It's the Nuts 4 and the long balls 1. So as we start the top of the third inning, we have a pitching change as Thomas McGinley is on in relief. So that will be the end of the line for the Spanish Kershaw. He'll go 2 innings, allow 1 run. Good performance from that lone run coming in the first inning. McGinley fires in for a called strike 1. We talked about McGinley a little bit. Nickname is Wheels. Loves spaghetti and meatballs as he gets the outside corner, strike 2. Ryan Quinn is the hitter for the long balls as they go back to the top of the order. Pitch is a called strike 3 on the outside corner. Good pitching from McGinley as he retires Quinn for out number 1. So Danny Quinn steps in, who's pitched the first 2 innings for the long balls. First pitch he sees is in there for a called strike 1. So McGinley's out there throwing strikes, which will be important, especially as we go on, try to complete all the innings they play here, as they'll have to stop at 3 o'clock, as the Derby participants will have to warm up. Again, that starts at 4 o'clock. 1-1 pitch, tap to first. Staying down on that is the first baseman, Kraus. He steps on the bag. 1 away. That is Haran, rather, at first base. He makes the play, steps on the bag. 2 away. Timmy Roush steps in. Had a single his first time up. He takes called strike 1. So Roush's single drove in the only run today for the long ball so far as we playing here in the top of the third inning. He pokes one to second base. Throw over to first in time, so 1-2-3 inning here for Tom McGinley as the putout is made to Haran. Nice play there by the second baseman. We'll go to the bottom of the third. The Nuts still up 4-1. Danny Kane's still on the mound as we resume play in the bottom of the third. Frank Provenzano, leadoff hitter for the Nuts, still in as he lines a single on the ground up the middle for a leadoff single. So Provenzano doesn't waste any time, jumps on Kane's second pitch. And the catcher for the Nuts is on to start the third inning. Bottom half of the third inning. Long balls did not score in the second inning. Haven't scored since the first where they scored that run. And the Nuts scored 4, long balls just 1. No scoring since then, however. First pitch to Kane to Kevin Kraus is high, ball 1. So something we have seen all day is the biplanes flying over with the logos. As here's a ground ball to third. He will check second, then go over to first, throw is wide, then Provenzano will go to third, throw there is wide, and then here's Kraus going to second base. Now the throw there is not in time, and here comes Provenzano to the plate. He will score. So just a crazy turn of events there. Provenzano with the ground ball to the third baseman. He thought about going to second, wouldn't have been too close, so he decided to go to first, and the throw was not in time. Then Provenzano went to third, and then Kraus decided to go to second. Throw came into second, and then that's what led to Provenzano coming all the way home. That's Colin Polenta at third base for the long balls, and Mike McLeish at first. Here's a check on the runner, and they got him! So a nice pickoff move as Kevin Kraus is out at second base. Bit of a dispute now as he's going to walk off the field. Big first out for the long balls as now they won't have a runner on base as Demetrius Sosa is the hitter. So we've seen Kane look at a few guys at second. Hasn't gotten anyone out on the pickoff attempt, but he has his first victim there as Sosa fouls it away. Strike one. They just announced that Kraus will be benched for getting picked off there. Important thing for the Nuts, though, they did score that run, so that makes it 5-1. They're out hitting the long balls as well, 4-2. As Sosa takes outside, 1-1. Here comes a 1-1 pitch. Dribbled foul down the left field line. We mentioned the cool experience it is for the kids to get to play at the single-A park. As here's a dribbler to the first baseman, McLeish. He steps on the bag himself. And there's 2 away now as O'Brien is coming up for the Nuts. We were talking to some of the attendants here at the stadium earlier. They do some events like this once the season is over in the first week of September. But they continue to do events like this throughout just about until October 31st. That's when they kind of shut things down. See, the baseball season will start up here again in about early April. Not as full as a major league schedule. They go to about early September as a line drive into left field by O'Brien. Gets by the left fielder. This will be extra bases. He's digging for 2. He'll get there standing as the ball is played in there. So just an absolute rocket off the bat of O'Brien. Tom Waits couldn't get in front of it. Just an absolute rocket. Didn't know whether to dive and get it or play it off a hop. Difficult play there and a screaming double off the bat of O'Brien. So the Nuts have that runner in scoring position once again. Robert Ronan will look to bring him home. And it looks like we may have a pinch runner coming in here as O'Brien is going off the field. Mentioned not one of the speedsters on the team, as he is in fact getting pinch ran for. O'Brien is also the catcher, so they might want to give him that opportunity to get his stuff on. So good move there. Still runner on second. Ronan digs back in. Base hitter will most likely score the run here. The only problem would be that the outfield is so far in. But you have good speed on the bases now with the pinch runner coming in for O'Brien. First pitch to Ronan was fouled off. Kane looks in. Now the 0-1 runner goes from second, pitches line fair down the left field line. That's a base hit. 1 run will score. Ronan's going to go for extra bases as he slides into second base safely. So he's got an RBI double. Everything worked out perfectly there as the runner was going. So it drew the third baseman, Polenta, over to third to, receive the throw from the catcher, Rost. That left a hole open on the left side, and that's exactly where Robert Ronan hit that ball. So now it's 6-1 Nuts. Here's McGinley. Ronan goes from second, throw to third, not in time. So the Nuts are being aggressive here again in the third inning. They've been aggressive every inning where they've had base runners. So they continue to put the pressure here on the long balls. Pitch is flared into second base, and over there is Ryan Quinn. So a pop out for McGinley. That'll end the bottom of the third inning. Some scoring done by the Nuts. At the end of 3, they lead at 6-1. As we resume action, Top of the fourth inning, another new pitcher for the Nuts. That's Dan Krause. He'll face the heart of the order for the long balls. Mike McLeish steps in. We do have some action in the long balls bullpen as well, so we'll likely see a new pitcher to replace Danny Kane, who did do well over 3 innings, allowed the 6 runs, but did do well, especially after hitting the first 2 batters of the game. 1 ball and 1 strike on Mike McLeish. McLeish wearing the jersey over a sweatshirt here, as we have been mentioning all of our telecasts that it is a cold day here in Lakewood. 2-1 now as the 1-1 pitch sails outside. In there for a called strike 2. So McGinley, the first lefty today for the Nuts. The long balls, Kane is a lefty for them. So the Nuts just looking to hold on to this 6-1 lead up here in the top of the 4th inning. 2-2 pitch. Hit foul. Mentioning the dimensions of the ballpark earlier, the current champ for the Homers for Hope Derby, T.J. Gardner, has been known to hit it over the not only the fence, which is along the accounts, but into the tree line, which is several hundred feet behind the fence. So that's approaching over 400, maybe 500 feet in that area, and those are softballs too, as McLeish takes high ball 4. So that's what the long balls will need here as they trail 6-1. They'll need a few base runners, as the third baseman, Colin Planta, is the next to bat. Planta's been known not to do his homework, so it'll be interesting to see what he'll do here after the game if he does finish that homework. Oh, 1 pitch here is outside. 1-1. You wonder if the long balls will send some runners in motion, just like the Nuts have all game. You know, the Nuts have maybe a bit better speed here, but that has been effective for them, getting runners in scoring position and scoring those 6 runs as Palanta takes outside. That is high, ball 3. So some interesting history for the Blue Calls. They were previously owned by the same owner who owned the New York Yankees AA team, Trenton Thunder. So foul ball hits our umpire today, Tom Kaufman, in the mask, but he appears to be okay. So it's the full count now. Getting back to the Blue Claws, though, owned by the same owner. They were originally from North Carolina, moved here to Lakewood, where they've been playing as a single-A affiliate of the Phillies since 2001. And one of the Phillies greats, Mickey Morandini, was a manager here for 2 years. Then a few years later went on to the third base coach for the Phillies. He's now a special advisor for them. Full count pitch is low, ball 4, so 2 back-to-back walks to start the top of the 4th inning for the long balls. So that'll bring in number 54, Tom Quinn. So we do have some siblings here. We have the Quinns, the Canes, a few McGinleys, so a lot of siblings on these 2 teams this afternoon. Quinn down in the count 0-1. The pitch to him in the dirt. Good block by O'Brien back there, who had that big double in the bottom half of the 3rd inning. Probably the hardest hit ball we've seen all afternoon, and it was into left field. He got into second with a double. 1-1 pitch. Called strike 2. Ball in the dirt, 2-2. So, runners on second and first and second for the long balls, both via walks. Kraus in his first inning of work, yet to retire at batter. 2-2 pitch on the way. Caught on and missed, strike 3. So Quinn goes down swinging. Kraus has got his first out of the top of the fourth inning. 8-8 Kane next to hit for the long balls. Lefty on lefty matchup here. Kane is at shortstop today. Hits from the left side, throws from the right-handed side. He takes inside, ball 1. Ball inside 2-0. We're mentioning the Derby earlier. The way that works is even if you have more prestigious power, the seeding works based on how much money you raise. So the more money you raise, the better kind of seeding and bracket you will face as the count moves to 3-0 here on Kane. So not really part of the ballpark ideally for hitting homers. Equal distance down the left and right field lines, 400 to dead center. .30 pitch is in there for a called strike 1. Outfield is in pretty far here against Kane as he takes ball 4, so that won't affect anyway. So bases are loaded with just one out here, and this is the best opportunity for the long balls to get back in this ball game. So Dom waits. The left fielder will step in here with ducks on the pond, an opportunity to bring the Nuts back, the long balls rather, back into this game, as the Nuts will have a pitching visit at the mound. Waits will go by RBI machine. He is quite the chance here with the bases loaded and just one out. Interesting story for Dom. His twin brother Nick, who thought he was being attacked by a hawkfly above during a baseball practice, which apparently is true. And if you want to know more about that and other of these funny stories from the Nuts, you can follow them on Instagram. Cut on and missed 1-1. So the infield will be halfway here. They may have to get the out at home, as it's doubtful that they'll be able to turn the double play on Waits. Could get the force at home. That may be all they'll get here as the pitch is outside, 2-1. Two-one pitch to Waits is on the outside corner, 2-2. So all pitchers for the Nuts here have definitely gone after that outside corner. They've been getting the call here as it's now 2-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Big pitch from Kraus as that's 2 outs now as Waits comes up empty on the swing attempt. Bases remain loaded, 2 away now. Joel Castellano next hit. Big opportunity for him. Bases loaded. They could risk stranding all 3 of these base runners down 6-1. Could be their best opportunity for the long balls to jump back in this game. Swing and a miss. Castellano way behind that fastball, 0-2. Ball sails outside, 1-2. Again, the outfielder's way in here, but at the bottom of the long balls lineup. Pitch is low and inside, ball 2. Pitch is inside. Did that hit him? No, it did not. So it'll be ball 3. So full count and 2 outs. The runners will be off from every base here with the full count with 2 outs. Big 3-2 pitch coming. Krause steals, low, ball 4. So Castellano will draw the walk. That'll bring in a run. As McLeish is in to score, the bases are still loaded. It's now 6-2 Nuts. So Casey McDonough, the 11th hitter for the long ball, steps in, and he takes a called strike 1. So Krause can get out of the inning for the Nuts. Still a big plus there. So still have the lead 6-2 here in the 4th inning. Called strike 2, 0-2 now. Long balls did have that bases loaded and 1 out opportunity. They've only scored 1 run. As the ball gets away from O'Brien, here comes a runner from third. He'll get in there safely. Both runners will advance. And now it's 6-3. So there was a pitch in the dirt. O'Brien got some of it, but not all of it. Good base running there as all the runners will advance. And it makes it 6-3. Interesting thing, the long balls have only scored three runs, but on just 2 hits. The Nuts have 6 runs on 6 hits. So a lot of walks for the long balls here so far. 2-2 now on McDonough, and the pitch is outside, 3-2. So Krause has really had to work this inning. Issued the first 2 walks and an additional 1 to force in a run. 3-2 pitch is a called strike 3 on the outside corner. That'll end the inning, but not before the long ball scored 2 runs to cut the lead in half. Going to the bottom of the 4th, it is the Nuts 3, the Nuts 6 and the long balls 3. So we'll get our first pitching change for the long balls as Danny Kane's day is finished after 3 innings. He allowed 6 runs. Dan Krause, who just finished his afternoon on the mound, is in. He hits one into first. He's got to hustle, but the ball gets by the right fielder, so he'll advance safely. The reason he has to hustle is the outfielders are so far in because no one's going to hit it too deep here in this big park in Lakewood. The right fielder's in, so there's a possibility if you hit one pretty hard into right that you could be thrown out at first base. So good job by Dan Krause to hustle there. He's on with a leadoff single. Mikey Anderson, the next hit, swings and misses, strike 1. So you wonder if they may send Krause in motion now with the 6-3 lead. That was cut in half last inning as it was 6-1. Now just 6-3 as the long ball scored 2 runs. Swing and a miss, strike 2. Pitch to Anderson is fouled straight back. He stays alive, still 0-2. Mikey Anderson's nickname is Short Slides. That's because he has never slid into a bag. He's always about 1 foot short sliding into those bags. He's coaches Mike Anderson's son, and he usually gets yelled at for no reason. To train, he usually has to go through weird pitching and hitting drills at home as a test dummy. And he would rather play the guitar and video games as opposed to that. Who can blame him as he cuts and misses here? That'll be strike 3. So 1 out here as Anderson goes down swinging. That'll bring up Dennis Brito. Brito got an inning of work in the 3rd inning of play. Scoreless inning, pitched well for the Nuts, probably their best pitcher so far. Of course, we told you his nickname is the Spanish Kershaw. He'll take ball 1.
He's called the Spanish Kershaw, but I'm not even sure if he's really Spanish.
Ball in the dirt, ball 1. Brito goes to Father Judge High School. Good football school as well as baseball. He's ahead in the count here, 2-0. All in the outside corner, strike 1. We are going to get some clarity on that pitching change. Timmy Roush, 3-hole hitter, who was catching for the long balls, is that new pitcher. As here's a ball to hit to first, could be 2 on to second, in time for 1. Nice scoop there, back to first, not in time. So nice play by McLeish at first. He threw over to Aiden Kane, the shortstop, who made a nice play to pick the ball out of the dirt as the throw was a little low. Stepped on the bag at first, but the return throw to first was not in time to get Brito. So Brito and Kraus will swap places as they're now 2 away with the runner on first, which brings up James McGinley. Here's a ball dribbled over to Kane at short. Long throw over to first is in time, and that'll end the inning. So, the Nuts cannot respond after the long ball scored 2 in the top. As we are now in the top of the 5th inning, Jack Adams, number 11 hitter for the long ball, steps in. He takes a called strike 1. 0-1 pitch, cut on, missed, 0-2. So Demetrius Sosa is the new pitcher for the Nuts. The Nuts have used a new pitcher in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th innings, keeping all of their arms fresh. As his pitch is cut on and missed by Adams. Strike 3 here in the top of the 5th inning. 1 away. So at 2:30, Angelina Bella, who sang the national anthem before the game, did a great job, will come out and sing God Bless America. That's at 2:30, whatever half inning is closest to then. Then at the end of the game, John Durso will present the game MVP and the winner of the 50-50 draw, as Sosa's pitch is in there for a called strike 1. Back to the top of the lineup for the long balls as Ryan Quinn digs in. Scored 2 runs in the top of the 4th last inning. Drew a lot of walks off of Dan Kraus. Sosa's come out here throwing strikes, however. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. So back-to-back strikeouts for Sosa. He's thrown strikes here to begin his outing. His favorite food is steak, which explains why he's so big. One of the biggest players here on this Nuts team, especially in terms of height. He'll face Danny Kane, two-hole hitter for the long balls, who was also their starting pitcher this afternoon. Sosa attends Franklin Town as Kane takes strike one. That's bounced into foul territory, so it's 0-2 now. Interesting to see if the Nuts will leave Sosa on the mound. However, longer this game goes, if they want to maintain that 6-3 lead here over the long balls. They're out hitting them 7-2 in this one. Long balls have gotten a lot of walks, though, as the ball is hit foul, stays 0-2. Time is called here. And it will remain 0-2 now. Top of the fifth inning here. We'll likely play a few more. At 3 o'clock, that is when the warm-ups for the Derby will start. Pitch to Kane is on the outside corner, strike three. So a masterful job of pitching by Sosa. 3 up, 3 down, all strikeout victims. So the long balls failed to score after their 2-run spot last inning, then top of the fourth. After the top of the fifth, it remains 6-3 Nuts. And we are back here in the bottom half of the fifth inning, as Roush remains on the mound for the long balls. They've used just 2 pitchers. The Nuts have used 5 different pitchers, 3 different pitchers in the last 3 innings, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Balls inside 1-1. Wanted to mention also, we were talking about the generosity of Homers for Hope, how good of a cause it is. We wanted to look at some testimonials from people who've supported Homers from Hope or have been recipients of it. Brian McDermott, who was a Homers for Hope recipient, says, after I got into a bad accident, I was in the hospital for over a month. Homers for Hope helped me and my family through our tough time, and we are so thankful. Again, he is one of the many recipients of Homers for Hope. Here's one from Corey Rutter, who is a supporter of Homers for Hope. He says, I'm proud of any business support Homers for Hope and their amazing events. It is a great thing that Homers is doing to help these families, and the real reward is seeing their smiles on their faces. As the count remains 2-2 to Liam Haran. He will hit one foul, jogs down to first base. It's foul anyways. Liam completes his snap streaks every morning before school, even if it means he will miss the bus. Most likely does that after he eats his Cocoa Puffs, which are his favorite food. Count remains 2-2 on him here. Here's a liner caught by the first baseman. That is Kane over there now, who replaced McLeish last inning. He makes a nice sliding catch on the liner from Haran. So Thomas Callahan is up for the Nuts, 1 away now in the bottom of the 5th inning. Called strike 1 to him, 0-1. So we're up to 59 degrees here at Lakewood. It was 57 earlier. Sun is out a little bit more here. Feels like 57. It'll go up to 73 tomorrow. Stay in the 60s the rest of the week. It was 90 a few days ago as Callahan takes high. Ball 1. Swing and a miss. That's strike 3. So 2 up and 2 down now for the Nuts. They'll go back to the top of the order now. It'll be Frank Provenzano, who's had a nice game so far. He's split time at catcher with Tyler O'Brien. He's had a few hits to his name as well. First pitch from Roush is in there for a called strike 1. Provenzano goes by the pro, goes to Labrum. He wears number 45 and bats from the right-handed side. Here's a fly ball into center field, going in and out, and making the catch is the center fielder Tom Quinn. Provenzano hit it pretty well, but it was right to Quinn in center field, so 3 up and 3 down for the Nuts. It remains 6-3 going into the 6th inning. Timmy Roush will dig in to start the top of the 6th inning. Just came off his 2nd inning of work on the mound. Threw a shot at his last inning in the bottom of the 5th and as well as the bottom of the 4th, so he's pitched well for the long balls. They trailed 6-3 here as he hits a slow roller to third base. Tough play. Throw to first is not in time. Might have beaten it out. Sosa might have come off the bag a little bit. It'll be interesting to see what the call is. It looks like he just beat it out. Sosa was at third, rather. It was a nice play there. Made a nice throw, but Roush was too fast to get it first. So that brings up the cleanup hitter, Mike McLeish. He takes a called strike 1. So this very well could be our last inning of play here as we are in the top of the 6th inning, approaching 3 o'clock. That's when the closing ceremonies and warm-ups for the Derby will happen. So if that's the case, this was the last chance for the long balls to score, try to tie it up as they trail by 3. May be able to play another inning here, especially since the long balls may need another chance to tie it up. That'll give the Nuts another crack at another at-bat as McLeish hits one foul. Haven't seen too many stolen base attempts from the long balls. Quite a few from the Nuts. They've stolen several bases, including third base today. As the 1-2 pitch from McLeish is in there for a called strike 3. It was dropped third strike. McLeish can't run, however, as Roush is at third base. So he goes down looking, and there's one away here in the top of the 6th. Colin Plant, who is very much known for his smarts, the next batter to step in. He takes high and tight ball 1. Wind has died down a little bit here this afternoon as we've continued play. As the pitch gets away from the catcher, believe it was a called strike, so that allowed Roush to move over to second in scoring position. It was called the ball, so it's 2-0 now. Runner on second. The new catcher is Kevin Krause, who has been at shortstop for the Nuts. So we've seen 3 different catchers for the Nuts so far this game. O'Brien, Krause, and Provenzano. Pitch is in there for a called strike 1, 2-1. So they have moved the positions around quite a bit. Pitch is high, ball 3. Full count pitch is high. That's now ball 3. Scoreboard was incorrect, so now it's 3-2. Interesting, we do have a lefty first baseman. That looks like Dan Krause out there at first base. He pitched as well. So he can play outfield, he can pitch as well. As pitch is called for strike 3, that is out number 2, so Polenta, the smartest man on the field, is down looking. And there are 2 away here in the 6th inning. Tom Quinn will dig in as the pitch gets away from Kevin Krause behind there at home plate. So the runner will advance to third. That's Rouch at third. So Quinn has an opportunity to get the long balls to within 2 here with 2 away in the top of the 6th inning. Pitch is fouled away, 1-1. So if Quinn can get on base, that'll bring up Aiden Kane, who will then be followed by Dom Waits, as the long balls look to draw even with the Nuts. Here's the 1-1. Gets away from Krause once again. Here comes Roush. He'll score without a play. So he will score even without Quinn driving him home on the wild pitch. That makes it 6-4 now. Quinn's been in center field most of the game as he takes high 3-1. Both Lambs batting 12 today as Quinn cuts on and miss. It'll be a full count now. It'll be interesting to see who will get that game MVP. It could definitely be Tyler O'Brien, who has had a few hits this afternoon, driven in a few runs as well. As the pitch is outside, that is ball 4. Quinn will reach first base, and it'll bring up Aiden Kane. First pitch to Kane is outside, ball 1, as Tom Quinn TQ leads off first. Pitch is half swing there by Kane. That's hit foul down the third baseline. 1-1. Pitch is lined right to the third baseman, Sosa. He squeezes it for the out. That'll end the top of the 6th inning. With the lead still intact for the Nuts, they give up a run. That makes it 6-4, but they still have the lead. Looks like we will continue to play here. So don't go away. We'll be back with the bottom of the 6th after this. Moving on to the bottom of the 6th inning, Kevin Krause steps in for the Nuts, the 2-hole hitter, also the youngest player on the team. Also plays basketball and football as he hits a high pop-up in foul territory. Bunch of infielders converging. No one can get to that ball, though. Danny Kane over from first had a look at it, but it landed out of play. So 0-2 now on Kevin Krause. So after this inning, the long balls will get one more chance to tie things up in the 7th inning. They've scored 4 runs, 1 in the first, 2 in the 4th, and 1 last inning on the 6th on the wild pitch. Timmy Rauch came in to score. Looking at the MLB schedule, 2 games tonight. You have the Yankees and Twins at 5:07 and the Rays at Astros at 9:07. National League teams have off. They'll play again tomorrow as the pitch is taken by Kraus. Full count now after being down 0-2. Full count pitch. Hit to the hole on the left side. Coming over, making the play. Throw on to first is the third baseman, but it's not in time. Kraus beats it out. It was a nice play over at third by Colin Palenta. He had to go over into the shortstop hole and cut it off, but the speedy Kraus beats it out. So Sosa steps in. He pitched an inning earlier in the game. He takes outside ball 1. He's been at third base here after pitching. Nuts have, as we mentioned, shuffled a lot of guys on the infield. Dan Kraus, the lefty, even played second base. In the dirt, gets away from the catcher. Kraus will move up to second easily. Has a look at third, but will be content with just staying at second base. Looking at the scoreboard last night, Nationals defeated the Dodgers 4-2. Braves beat the Cardinals 3-0. Tied the series at 1. Same thing with the Dodgers and the Nationals. Astros beat the Rays. They take a 1-0 lead. And the Yankees beat the Twins to go ahead 1-0. As Sosa hits a long foul ball. So we mentioned some possible game MVP. We mentioned O'Brien. Kevin Kraus definitely another candidate as he has 2 singles, 2 RBIs. Then, of course, that walk just a few moments ago. Those game MVP honors will be awarded after the game is over, after the top half of the 7th inning, it looks like. 3-1 now the count on Sosa. On the outside corner, strike 2. If you would like to find out more information about Homers for Hope, go to homersforhope.org. As a pop-up here, it goes foul. It'll have information about the organization and how you can help out some of the families. We mentioned they've paid over $223,000 in bills for families in need. They average $30,000 in assistance to families per year, and they've delivered that financial support to over 25 families. Don't have to just give money. You can also volunteer, participate in the Derby some way, or sponsor as the pitch is cut on a miss, strike 3, throw down to third on the stolen base attempt by Kraus is not in time, so he steals third. Another stolen base for the Nuts late in this game. Sosa goes down swinging, however. Kraus does move up, so they got a runner on third with just 1 out. And Tyler O'Brien, a possible game MVP, steps up to the plate. First pitch, strike 1. Outfield backs up a little bit with O'Brien. Probably a smart move as he swings and misses here. Ball gets away. Cross will jog home. So just like that, the Nuts get that run back. They open up the 3-run lead once again. That's 7-4. So we mentioned the smart move from the outfield to back up. O'Brien's hit a few balls out there today. One was an absolute rocket. He hit for his double 0-2 pitch is high, ball one. One-two pitch is high. Now it's 2-2. Robert Roden will follow O'Brien, then Thomas McGinley. Long balls will look to wiggle out of the inning, trailing by just 3 here. High 3-2. So after trailing 0-2, O'Brien's worked the count full here with 2 away. Swing and a miss at the 3-2 pitch. And now there are 2 away here in the bottom of the 6th inning, so Ronan will come to bat. O'Brien's down on strikes for the first time this afternoon.
Now batting number 27, Robert the Franchise Rowan.
First pitch to Ronan's in there for a called strike 1. Next pitch is in there for a called strike 2. Oh, 2 pitch slapped into right field. That's a base hit. Ronan will hustle to first. He'll be in there in time without a throw. So he's got a nice line drive base hit to keep the inning alive. That'll bring up McGinley.
Batting number 11, McGinley.
Runner goes from first. He'll make it there without a throw. So the Nuts continue to run here with the 7-4 lead. They now have 9 hits after the Ronan single. Long ball is just 3 here as we keep playing here at bottom of the 6th inning. 1-1 here to Krause. You feel as though if the Nuts score again, this game may be put on ice as a ground ball here to second is fielded there by the second baseman Ryan Quinn. Throws it over to first in time. So McGinley grounds out, scored that play 4-3, and that'll end the bottom of the 6th inning. We'll go to the top of the 7th. The Long Balls will have their last chance to score here as they trail 7-4. In our final inning of play, top of the 7th, Dom, the RBI machine, waits, digs in. Doesn't have an RBI opportunity here with the bases empty. Had an opportunity with the bases loaded earlier in the game as he takes inside 1-1. So after this half inning, we'll get the presentation of the game MVP award, and then after that, we'll have the Derby warm-up, and at 4, the Derby will start as it moves to 3-1 on weights. Three-one pitch is ball 4 in the dirt. Waits will start off the inning with the walk. Long balls need some base runners here as they're down 7-4 as the Nuts responded in the bottom half of the 6th inning with another run. So it's 7-4.
He can only hit dingers in EP.
So it brings up Joel Castellano with the runner on first, nobody out. Pitch gets away. So Waits is down to second base with nobody out. One zero pitch is inside 2-0. In the dirt, that'll go to the backstop as well. Waits to third. So a walk and 2 wild pitches put a runner in scoring position for the long balls. 3-0 now in Castellano. Pitch, big swing and a miss from Castellano. 3-1. Pitch nearly hits him. I guess it did clip him as he will move down to first base. So first and third now, nobody out.
Now batting number 57, I will say his name correctly this time, Casey McDonough.
So McDonough's got a good opportunity now. 11th hitter for the long balls. Both teams batting 12 this afternoon. Adams is on deck. So bottom half of the order for the long balls, but a good opportunity to get within 2 runs here. As Waits on third, and Castellano at first after walks here to start this inning. And McDonough takes strike 1. Infield stays back for the Nuts, so they will turn the double play, give up the run, if that is indeed where the ball is hit. 1-1 pitch is low, 2-1. So we've mentioned how the long balls have not gotten many hits this afternoon. 4 runs on just 3 hits, but they have walked a lot. 9 hits for the Nuts as they scored 7 runs as the 2-1 pitch is in there for a called strike 2. Inside 3-2 as Castellano will motor down to second base without a throw. So second and third now. So take the double play out of the equation now as 2 runners in scoring position for McDonough. Full count pitch. Swing and a miss. That's a big strikeout there as the first batter of the inning is retired. 1 away now. Jack Adams, the number 12 hitter for the long balls, comes to the plate. Adams takes the first pitch, 1-0 here. 1-0 pitch is in there, called strike 1. Nuts just 2 outs away from a victory here in the top of the 7th inning. 1-1 pitch, outside 2-1. 3-1 now on Adams. So they risk walking the 12th man. Ryan Quinn, the leadoff hitter, is on deck. He could possibly have a bases loaded 1-out situation. Long balls have had a few of those situations in this game. 3-1 pitch, line softly but foul down the first base line. A base hit here could very well make this a 1-run ball game as there's runners at second and third, just 1 out. Full count pitch is just high, ball 4. Adams is on at first. That brings up Ryan Quinn. He's got the bases loaded, just 1 out. Ryan Quinn steps in. Danny Kane on deck. Strike one here to Quinn. The corners are in a little bit here for the Nuts, so they would get the out at home as the pitch way behind Quinn, ball one. Middle infield will probably go to second, see if they can turn the double play at second and first. Corner infield will go home, get the force there. Swing and a miss, strike two. Ball gets away. Here comes the runner from third. Throw to home is not in time as ball gets away. Chance here at third. Throw there is not in time. And Adams will stay put at first. So coming in to score is Waits. He jumped from third. Ball didn't get away from Provenzano too far, but a good dirt ball read from Waits allows him to score. It's just a 2-run game with the tying run now at first base. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Quinn. High 2-2. If Quinn can get on, that'll move Adams to second, meaning the tying run is in scoring position now. Pitch to Quinn is hitting foul territory. After it is the first baseman, but he will not get there in time. That's Liam Haran over there at first. Count remains 2-2 on Quinn. Here's a liner into center field, and making the catch is a center fielder. That is Robert Ronan out in center field. He made a nice catch on a well-hit ball by Quinn. No advancement in Castellano at third base. Ball wasn't hit far enough into the outfield. So it's still 7-5, and just like that, the long balls are down to their final out. Danny Kane could very well be the last batter of this game as he digs in. Takes strike one. Castellano at third, Adams at first. Adams is that tying run. Kane is the go-ahead run as he cuts and misses 0-2. Now the long balls are down to their final strike. (0-2) pitch. And it appears as though time might have been called, so the pitch will not count. Might have been inside. Anyway, it's still 2 strikes on Kane. We'll get an other opportunity. Try again on 0-2. The pitch to Kane. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. So that'll do it this afternoon for this one. The Nuts hold on to the win here. They take it 7-5 over the long balls. Great game. Final line score: 7 runs, 9 hits, no errors for the Nuts. 5 runs, 3 hits, and no errors for the long balls. Once again, the Nuts take this one 7-5. We will go down on the field for the presentation of the game MVP, and that'll be followed by the Homers for Hope Home Run Derby. We thank you for joining us. My name is Corey Miller. Again, the final score of this one is the Nuts 7 and the Long Balls 5, here from First Energy Park in New Jersey. All right, ready?
Right?
Thomas, how was it out there?
It's amazing. Could have had a better day. Came away with W. That's all that's important.
How was it playing on this huge field?
It's like a dream come true.
Who do you think had the best game out there?
Skip and Cheetah knees, by far. The beast.
Anything you'd like to add?
Long live Skip.
Thank you, Thomas.
You're welcome.
Tyler, you won game MVP. What's that like?
Man, it's amazing. I worked super hard for this,
Came out here with so much energy with the team, got a couple hits.
Take us through some of your at-bats. What were you thinking up there?
I was just thinking get contact on the hit, you know. I wanted to hit one over, but that was never happening. That could only happen in a dream maybe. So I just was looking for contact, maybe driving a couple runs.
What was the best part about today?
Winning MVP, you know, it shows my hard work over the summer, working with Frank the Pro, and it's just been amazing knowing that I was thought of for the MVP.
Was your goal coming into this game to win the MVP?
I didn't even know there was an MVP coming into the game, I'm going to be honest. So when I heard it, I was like, after my first hit, Mike told me, I was like, all right, I got chances. Once he said I was top 3 for MVP.
Anything else you'd like to add?
No, I'm good.
Thanks, man.
Wait, all right. Watch it on go. 3, 2, 1, go.
Coach, great game. How do you think your guys played?
They played pretty well. We took it somewhat easy, but got the job done.
You guys won 7-5. You used a lot of different pitchers. Talk us through your approach through this game.
Yeah, pitching's our strength. We got a lot of arms on this team. We take care of their arms, and that's what's going to win us a championship next year in the Department of Rec, Babe Ruth, and any tournament we ever get in. And that's it.
How was it, do you think, your guys playing on this field, this big field?
We're probably going to sign a deal with the Lakewood Blue Claws, play here every home game, and this will be our home game. We're moving away from Liberty Bell. We're going to be the Lakewood Nuts.
Anything else you'd like to add going forward?
On a serious note, this is a great event. We're raising money for Lily, and we raised about $2,000. It's a great event for us. It's important for us, and yeah, we missed Joe Roy, the legend, here today. But it is what it is. He wanted to play football instead of baseball.
Awesome. Thank you, Coach. Great game, guys.
Thanks.